Good morning and welcome to Kid News. I'm Tori. Today is Friday, April 22nd, 2022, Earth Day around the U.S. And we begin with a sweet new science word to wrap your heads around. It's called Oreology, the physics behind twisting an Oreo cookie so equal parts of icing end up on each wafer. Frustrated by her inability to get an even split, Oreo fan and MIT graduate student Crystal Owens invented the Oreometer, a 3D printed device that uses pennies and rubber bands to create a scientifically perfect separation. Surprisingly, even that didn't work. Most likely, Crystal believes, because the inside of the wafer is so smooth that an even division of icing is impossible. Her team hasn't yet heard back from the Oreo authorities, but their study did make it into the journal Physics of Fluids. Crystal's next project? Trying to tune the fluid mechanics of ice cream so it doesn't drip on a hot day. In California this weekend, two daring cousins will attempt the first ever mid-air plane swap. Luke Akins and Andy Farrington are seasoned pilots who get their kicks pulling off thrilling, record-breaking stunts. If all goes smoothly, this Sunday's will be no exception. The cousins will take off in separate, single-seat Cessnas, fly to an altitude of 14,000 feet, cut the engines, tip into nosedives, skydive into each other's plane, regain control of the free-falling crafts, then land. The event will live stream Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time on Hulu. Don't put those masks away just yet. The already confusing patchwork of rules just got more so now that the CDC has asked the Justice Department to appeal this week's unexpected decision by a federal judge in Florida to end the requirement on planes, trains, and buses. In a statement, the nation's leading health agency said mask wearing remains necessary on public transportation, but it can't require it unless or until the Justice Department overturns the Florida court order. How do most Americans feel? According to an ABC News poll, most prefer to cover up when traveling. 56% are in favor, 24% oppose, and 20% say they don't care one way or the other. As the war in Ukraine rages on, and as President Biden promises more help for the country and its refugees, a dog named Patron is getting props for taking care of business on the ground. The 2-year-old Jack Russell Terrier has earned the nickname the Mascot of Cherniv for sniffing out more than 90 undetonated explosives in the past month. Patron works alongside state emergency service rescuers and lets them know when they come across dangerous, still-hot devices. When that happens, the pooch signals his human partners who then defuse the danger on site. Patron wears a special bomb tech vest embroidered with his name, and the little hero is now an internet favorite. Ukraine's Stratacom Center wrote on Twitter that one day Patron's story will be turned into a film, but for now, he is faithfully performing his professional duties. A big man on the court for the Phoenix Suns has his mind on something more important than the NBA playoffs. Center Bismack Biyombo is donating his entire season's salary, $1.3 million, to build a new hospital in the Congo. According to CBS News, Mr. Biyombo has a long history of giving back to his home country in Africa and has already helped with schools and basketball academies. But after seeing his dad hospitalized with COVID, he decided what the Congo needs most right now is good health care, because currently there's only one doctor for every 10,000 people. His work isn't flying under the radar. He's been named to Time's 2021 list of next-generation leaders, and this week earned the league's March 2022 NBA Cares Community Award. In other Kid News notes, Netflix isn't so chill these days. For the first time in a decade, the streaming company lost subscribers. Analysts expect Netflix to respond by cracking down on password sharing and possibly offering a lower price plan that includes advertising. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are teaming back up to star in a new movie about Nike, successfully signing basketball star Michael Jordan to a sneaker endorsement deal in the 80s. The move sent Nike from a distant third-place shoe company to the giant it is today. That's it for Kid News. Now, today's Kid News quiz. An MIT grad student turned the twisting of what cookie into a scientific study? Oreos. Two daredevils will attempt what over California this weekend? The first ever plane swap. What's the name of the dog doing heroic work on the ground in Ukraine? Patron. How is Phoenix Suns basketball player Bismack Biyombo helping to build a hospital in the Congo? By donating his entire salary. In today's KidNuz Kicker, as we mentioned, today is Earth Day. Now it's celebrated every April 22nd, but it wasn't always. Before 1970, it didn't even exist. But U.S. Senator Gaylord Nelson wanted people to start paying more attention to the beautiful blue marble we all call home. So he created Earth Day, saying the ultimate test of our conscience may be the willingness to sacrifice something today for future generations whose word of thanks will not be heard. Meaning, protect Mother Nature is important now, even if we don't see the payoff for a really long time. Fortunately, some of the easiest ways to change habits and slow global warming can start in our own backyard. Curious? Check out the climate change links inside our resource page at kidnuz.org. Before we go, we want to recognize our fabulous teachers, starting with a big welcome back to Mrs. Camp, who's just returning from a 4-week medical leave at Mayo Middle School in Paris, Illinois. To New York for Mrs. Bowden at Goshen Intermediate in Goshen, and Mrs. Pepino and her Chango Cheetahs at Chango Elementary in Ballston Lake. Mrs. Jennings at Portland Estates in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and Mrs. Olson at Lake of the Woods School in Baudette, Minnesota, where they can see Canada right across the river. Thanks for listening, parents and teachers. A reminder to check your emails for our weekly word search, and we'll see you back here for more KidNuz Monday morning.